You hear that? That's the sound of a lesson that's been sitting dead in the water, finally catching fire. For years, we all started class with a bell ringer or a do now, and while that's good for a routine, it often skips the most vital step in learning, getting students to want to learn. We're talking about the first of the McRel 6 phases of learning, become interested. If a student doesn't feel a hook, a connection, or a personal spark, the rest of the lesson is a tough uphill climb. Today, we're sharing our expert strategies, our hooks, and our bridges to stop lessons from stalling out and to make every student lean in, eager for what's next. Get ready to transform your lesson planning and drive genuine curiosity.
This is Teachers on the Loose.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Teachers on the Loose, the podcast where we turn teacher tales into belly laughs and life lessons. I'm Kristen.
I'm Celeste.
I'm Allison.
And I'm Kelsey.
Today, we're kicking off a super exciting series focused on the McRel 6 phases of learning, starting with the most important phase, Phase 1, become interested.
That's right. This phase is all about grabbing attention and connecting new material to prior knowledge or personal experience. We're going to give you practical, quick hit ideas you can use tomorrow to make your content irresistible.
All right, but before we dive into today's episode, let's do a quick check around. What's one small win that deserves a gold star this week?
Oh, I have one.
Okay.
So my parents are moving to Colorado, and so I took a Monday off, and I don't do that. So I don't take days off. So that was really weird and much needed so I could be there for them. And so I had a sub. And, you know, it's always hard when you don't take time off and you're leaving your babies in somebody else's hands and all the things. I mean, I wrote 7 pages or 8 or so pages of sub notes because of all the things. And you want to, you know, make sure the sub is prepared. And my class was amazing.
Are you sure? I'm pretty sure I heard the sub report.
Yes, Celeste, they were amazing. You tried to be a trickster and you texted me that the class was awful. And I'm like, really? And you're like, yeah, the kids were running around the classroom and yelling. And that's when I knew. I'm like, they don't do that. I have a few kids in there that would have been like, you need to stop. They would have been like the, you know, teacher helper. And so she's like, yeah, and this kid got sent to the principal's office. And I'm like, I'm calling her. So I called her, and I could hear her on the phone being like, okay, shh, hello.
So it didn't work, is what
No.
you're saying? Shoot. Okay.
Yes.
Maybe next time.
And the poor sub got put on the spot because she was in the office when I called Celeste. And you're like, yeah, right? They were awful. And she's like, no, yeah. But they were amazing. How amazing.
I mean, I said your class could practically run itself. There was
They don't
not a
need me.
need for a sub to be there. They're so in their routine and they know just what to do. It was great.
Yeah. So thank you, Celeste, for
You're
saying
welcome.
that.
Good job.
Allison, what about you?
I would say one win for me was on Friday we got to have a professional development day and I got to work with my team. I was not feeling well. And so I zoomed in because I didn't want to miss anything. And we sat there for 2.5 hours over a computer. I felt like it was 2020 again, but it was so fun to plan again and just have like 2 solid hours of just backwards planning and making our learning intentional. And it was so fun. I loved planning with my team.
That's awesome. Mine was actually Friday too, but for a different reason. I just love on professional development days getting to see all my people who I don't work with anymore. And so I got to hug them and talk to them and see how they were doing. And that was my gold star moment this week.
I love that.
Kelsey?
Mine's a personal one. This week we got some really good news about our house and we're selling our house and buying a new house, and it feels like all the pieces are falling into place, and I'm just so excited about this next new step for our family. So I'm really, really excited.
That's so exciting.
That is exciting. So let's jump back into today's episode. We're talking about the 6 phases of learning, and we're going to focus on one phase. But guys, what are the 6 phases of learning, and why are they important for us to focus on?
The 6 phases of learning goes through how our brain learns. And our brains are wired to forget. So by following the 6 phases, it helps move information from your short-term memory into your long-term memory and helps learning stick.
I love it.
Short and sweet.
So what are the 6 phases of learning then? We've said that the first phase is become interested.
This phase is really so important because our first memory is called our sensory memory, and anything kids pay attention to is what's going to move into our working memory. And students' brains or our brains take in a lot of information all the time. And if you don't pay attention to something, then it's going to get lost. So that's why it's really important to do something to like hook them and catch their interest right away.
Phase 2 is commit to learning. You need to get excited, set some goals, make sure your learning intentions and success criteria are set.
Phase 3, focus on the new learning. So after you've become interested and you've committed to the learning, then that's a direct instruction part of your lesson, the I do part.
Phase 4 is make sense of learning. And so this is like the we do part of your lesson. It's how students are discussing and making sense of their learning.
And then phase 5 is where they start taking it from their working memory, and we try to get it stuck into their long-term memory by giving them time to practice and reflect on what they've been learning.
Then phase 6 is extend and apply. And this is where you have students apply their learning into real life tasks. It helps them create richer mental connections, and it just enhances their long-term retention.
Okay, let's jump into phase 1, become interested. What are the parts of that phase?
Yeah, there's 2 parts to this phase. The first part is the emotional readiness. So students have to be emotionally ready to learn. They need to be connected to their teacher and the students in the room and be ready to take on the challenge of learning.
So that's like Maslow before Bloom's, right?
Sure is.
You have to make sure that needs are met before you can do any learning.
Yep.
Yes.
If I'm worried about what happened last night at home,
Yep.
it's hard to learn.
Yep. I have a good visual for that I learned in a PD session. They said, think of your brain as a parking lot. And if a student's parking lot is all filled because of all the emotional things that they've got going on and they're emotionally filled up, their parking lot's filled up, then they're not ready to learn. So being able to connect with students and help them free up a parking space to be ready to learn.
And I think that's really important how we all do a soft start for our morning. We know when we come in, the students either are getting breakfast or just, playing with a STEM box. You're visiting with the students, just saying hi, kind of building that relationship with them during that 10 minutes. And so I think that's a great way to kind of get your students ready to learn and build that relationship. So what are some other things that we can do to build relationships with our students?
Well, I think right after that soft start, then we sit down and have a community circle. And we always start out with like a temperature check, how you feeling. And for the kiddos that you can see, like they're on the struggle bus that day, take a minute during a transition to just check in with them and say, hey, how's it going? I'm here if you need to chat, and letting them know, like, I see you, I'm here to help you, I think helps them kind of feel more ready to learn as well. Like my teacher sees me and they care about me and I'm in a safe place so I can start taking risks. So yeah, the community circle gives us that information of how those kiddos are doing and who we need to check in with throughout the day.
I don't do a community circle like you do. What I do is at each table, I usually have about 4 or 5 students, and I have like a question for the day. And I kind of keep it simple. One of my teammates said, because for a while I was like, oh, talk about this or talk about that. And I was not being very creative. It was a little bit of a struggle. So I just kept it really simple with Monday, let's just do a check-in. What did you do over the weekend? And Tuesday is talk about anything you want. And Wednesday is, well, I try to tie it into our character counts and how are you being respectful or how are you being kind? And then Thursday is Thankful Thursday. What are you thankful for? And then, of course, Friday, what are you going to do this weekend? So I just kind of do that to start our day. And it just gives me an opportunity to take attendance and do other things, but it gives students an opportunity to talk, connect with their classmates, share something, and then we share out loud to the whole class. So then we have that opportunity. So our voices are being heard, whether it's in a small group or a whole class. And that just sets the tone for the day. We've all had an opportunity to talk and share, and now we're ready to learn.
I love that. And I think it can even start before they get in the classroom. I know at our building, we make it a big priority to greet kids at different doors and make eye contact, tell them good morning. So we started a November challenge. And so the goal is we want to know every child's name. And so as they come through, just looking them in the eye, saying good morning with their name is part of that. They're part of a bigger community. Everybody in the building knows who they are and is happy that you're at school today.
I love that because we have over 600 students. So good luck, Celeste. And you said what? November is your goal, like end of November? And so you don't have very many days to get all of their names stuck in your head. So how are you accomplishing this challenging, doable task?
I don't know. It's really hard. And what's bad is on the announcements, they encourage students to ask us, what's my name? And so Thursday, because we didn't have school Thursday, I walked into the 4th grade pod and 10 kids looked at me and they're like, what's my name? I was at 60% and I felt pretty good about that.
That's good.
But also, gosh, that makes the other 40% feel really yucky that I didn't know their name. So I'm really trying hard.
Do you want a cheat sheet? I have my students' names and pictures. Do you want that? Do you want to study?
Sure. Maybe that would help.
It's cute.
And I think all of these phases apply also with staff. And so we've tried this year when we plan our learning sessions to think through the phases for our staff too. And at the beginning of every staff meeting, we also do a community circle. And our first question is always like an emotional check-in type question. It helps me get an idea of like where staff is at. How was your day today? Like this past week when we did our first question, I think everybody's thumb was down. Like, oh, it's been a day. It was a full moon day and it was just rough all around, and you could feel that. Yeah.
I'm always on the struggle bus to do I try to remain positive or do I be honest? And one of the rules is be honest. And so for the first time, I put my thumb down because I was at the start of getting a cold and I was like, I got to be honest. And so my thumb was down for the first time. I'm always trying to be positive, but
And that's
hard.
okay. That's like why we do it is we want people to be honest. We want to truly know how you're feeling because that helps us adjust a little bit with when we go into doing our learning session. Like, okay, we know everybody's had a tough day. Let's keep it short and sweet or not do as many discussion questions and adjust our learning to help everybody. So after the check-in question, we do a question for everybody to get to know each other. So our question this last week was, what is one thing that another team member does consistently that helps you feel supported, valued, or prepared for your work?
And what came out of that was team after team saying, I have the best team.
Aww.
They're so supportive when I'm having a hard day. They're there for me. They push me to be stronger. I'm a better teacher because of this person or that person. And it just was so inspiring to be a part of this group of people that were all just inspiring to be better and to overcome challenges together. And when I looked at my team, my heart just swelled because I was like, how do I just pick out one thing that's consistent with one person? But being new to that team, they are so full of grace and I'm allowed to make mistakes or to come with a lot of questions and to say, I don't understand this yet. And they're so patient with me. And so I was able to share that. And it was just a really heartfelt community circle time. And by the end of that time, we all were able to take a deep breath together and it felt good.
Yeah. And just to give you the background on restorative practices a little bit, they say the first year that you're implementing restorative practices, you do all tier 1 type questions, which are very basic questions like what's your favorite food or where do you want to travel to? Really low level questions. And then year 2, you can start getting into tier 2 type questions, which are questions similar to the one that I just asked. So this year we gave it a couple months for everybody to get to know each other at the beginning of the school year. And now we're starting tier 2 type questions to kind of dig into that a little bit and get everybody to know each other on a deeper level.
Okay, so now students and adults are emotionally ready to learn, what is the next part of phase 1?
Gotta spark their curiosity. So this next part of this phase is kind of like the intention grabber to your lesson. Could be a mystery or a surprise or some conflict or some compelling question that makes their brains get excited and what's going to come next? What are we learning about? And really sparking their curiosity for the lesson ahead.
Wait, so you can't just stand up there and say, guys, be quiet. I want to teach you something. That's not an attention.
Listen, and you are going to learn.
You can.
You can't, I guess, yeah.
Try it on Monday.
I think I will. I think I'm going to just say, guys, I'm going to teach you something now. Get ready.
You guys are learning lots.
Open your brains now.
But
No.
maybe that's the hook, telling them to open their brains. I would open it and I'd be like, what's she going to say? It's Mrs. Larson. I'm so excited. My brain is open.
Right.
You know what I love about that? I mean, yes, we know as teachers, we got to do that attention grabber. We got to get them interested, spark that curiosity. Well, we've been doing Haggerty now for how many days have we been in school? 57 days. And I do Haggerty every morning as part of my morning routine. And you would think after a while, that's going to get kind of boring. But it's really hard to get them kind of doing that same routine over and over. So I don't know about you, Allison, but I have little stuffies, little squishmallows, and one's a squirrel, one's a raccoon. I don't have a little hedgehog, like a Haggerty hedgehog like some people do. And so I always have them sitting next to me on the chair, and they're always watching the students. Sometimes they fall down, and I'm like, oh my gosh, they fell. Or if I forget them, I'm like, you guys, where are they? So I just try to make it exciting, try to be a little bit silly. And then after we're done with the Haggerty lesson, then I pull my Spiky, that's a squirrel, Rocky, that's a raccoon, Squishmallow, and we have a conversation and we talk about who was doing the hand motions, who was engaged.
She talks to stuffed animals in the
Stuff-
middle of
I
her
do.
lesson.
I talk to the stuffed animals and like I answer, and sometimes the stuffy likes to peek around the corner and the kids are like, I'm listening. And then I'm like, okay, we made our decision. And then like I'm whispering, and then we come back and then I do a big, okay, today's Haggerty hero is, and then I make the announcement. And then I throw the stuffed animal at them and I love it. They I throw it nicely at them.
She pegs them in the head with a stuffed animal.
Yeah.
And then the
I don't-
child's like,
I-
ow, I mean, yay.
Thanks, Mrs. Spraker.
Right. No, I tell them, better watch out. It might hit you in the head. But for the most part, they catch it. And that's part of the excitement right there. Can they catch it?
Yeah. And you're teaching like large motor skills.
Hand-eye coordination.
Hand-eye coordination.
And if you get hurt, just shake it off.
Yep,
You're
teaching
fine.
Perseverance. And I love it. Yeah. Mental toughness, physical toughness.
Yeah. I mean,
They're
it's a
getting all the
well-rounded
things in
lesson.
kindergarten.
I love it. Wow.
One that I used to love to do, I mean, that's a great one. One that I used to do is when you just show them pictures or things related to the topic that you're about to learn about, but you don't tell them what it is. So it's like a guessing game. So maybe it's a picture of a tree and then some dirt and then a
Planting.
leaf. I don't know, is it?
Yeah. Life cycle of a tree.
Yeah, that's where I was going with it. So just gets them excited because they're like trying to play the game in their head of guessing, what are we going to learn about? I can't wait. So that's a good one.
I love it. That is a good one.
I try to use a variety of different things so that they're always on their toes, like what's going to happen next. But last week I tried a new one.
Okay.
Once upon a time, there was a girl who was in high school and she had to do an art project, and she was trying to be super cool and impress her friends and do an art project around the word hockey. And she forgot to put the CK in there because she just put HOKEY. And so when the project was done, somebody said, "What is hokey?" And that, my friends, is the story of Mrs. Larson learning how to spell hockey. And the cool part is that you don't have to wait till high school to figure out that word. I'm going to teach it to you right now. And so it was a lead into our phonics lesson of how to spell short vowel words with the CK into a 2-syllable word. So
I love that. You
Yeah.
hooked them with a personal story.
Yeah.
Good job.
And so, yeah, sometimes I like to do liturgical dancing to get their attention. Sometimes I like to do
Songs.
play of some sort.
Sometimes you wear dresses.
Sometimes I wear dresses. A dirndl may have appeared in a classroom before. Or sometimes I like to just put something really out of the ordinary on my desk and be like, I wonder what that is. And then just start asking questions. So, yeah. Anything I can do to spark their curiosity.
Yeah, it can be simple too. It could be a video or an image or a book or something you talk about. I did a lesson on reciprocal teaching in a first grade classroom recently, and I had a toolbox that I showed them. I told them they all have their own reader's toolbox, and inside of it is different things that we can use to help us learn how to read. And one of the tools that we use to understand new words is to clarify. And so I told them to pull out their magnifying glass from their toolbox, and we're going to clarify some words. And for summarizing, we pulled out our rulers and we sequenced our stories, like first section, chunk.
I love it.
So we had a little toolbox. It was like a cute little visual to help them understand how to break down a story and use their tools to help them learn to read.
I love that. I think that anytime that you can use tangible things, it helps. When we did how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, I remember being like, hey guys, I forgot my lunch today. Can you help me make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? And they're like, yeah. I said, what do I need to do first? And they're like, get 2 pieces of bread. And so I just like ripped the side of the bread open, and I took 2 pieces out. They're like, don't open it that way. And I said, well, you didn't tell me how to,
Yeah.
And so we were talking about the details, and they're like, next, put the peanut butter on the bread. So I just put the jar of peanut butter on top of the bread, and they're like, no, you've got to get the knife. And I was like, so you have to tell me the details. Tell me how to do it. Or when we were doing inferencing, and I walked in and I had my sunglasses on and my beach bag, and I was like, hey guys, I have somewhere I need to go. Where do you think I'm heading? And they had to like look at all of the different clues to find out where I was going. And so using those like props, I think kind of sparks their curiosity. What's that crazy teacher doing now?
I love it.
I love all those examples, but do you feel like sometimes you're having a hard time capturing their attention?
Very much so. I have 2 things that I want to share about that. The first, I am in the book study Neuromyths right now. Have you guys read that book?
No?
It's all about all these myths about the brain that we've just been conditioned to believe. And one of the myths,
What's an example
What's a myth?
of that?
a myth that kids can't pay attention. And that's actually not true. Kids are always paying attention. They just might not be paying attention to what you want them to pay attention to.
Okay.
And then it came up in our learning coach meeting. We read this article called The Motivation Illusion. And it was talking about how kids need to feel short successes early on in order to capture them and make them want to do more. And so if you think about like Super Mario Brothers, level 1 is super easy and you get early wins, and that's how they hook you and make you sit in front of it for hours playing.
That's me in Candy Crush. So the secret to the become interested phase is simple. It's about shifting from being a content deliverer to a curiosity curator. By intentionally planning a strong hook and a clear bridge to your lesson, we stop asking students to get ready to learn and start making them eager to learn.
All right, listeners on the loose, we challenge you to revamp one lesson intro this week. We want to know, what is one instructional hook you are going to use?
Tag us on Instagram or Facebook at Teachers on the Loose and share your new engaging hook. You might just hear your idea on our next episode on Phase 2.
Thanks for hanging out with us today. Now go rev up those lesson plans and take learning for a spin. And meet us back here next week on Teachers on the Loose.
This is Teachers on the Loose.
Funny story I've been wanting to tell you guys.
Okay.
So Allison probably doesn't even know this happened. So one day at the beginning of the week, Allison asked me to print something for her. And so I did. And when I went to go deliver it to her room, there was no one in there. there was no kids and she wasn't in there. I'm guessing they were in recess or something. And I got so excited. I was like, oh my gosh.
Did you clean up my desk?
I have to do something. And I was like, I'm going to flip her desk. Like, put anything that's on the left side on the right side, anything on the right on the left. And I got so excited. I got over there and I started moving things. And then I'm like, okay, let me just make this stack of paper.
So you started organizing?
Yes.
You organized her desk.
I just organized her desk, and then I'm standing there like laughing hysterically at myself. I'm like, I didn't do a prank. I just cleaned.
I told you I wouldn't even notice if you came and messed my desk. Because honestly, it's such a work in progress all the time. Like, I'm just always like grab and go. So that's hilarious.
I love that you were like, I'm going to do this, and then you end up cleaning.
I know. I was like, well, I don't.
I seriously thought it was my volunteer that had came over and like just picked up my desk, and it's like, oh, that was nice. Yeah.
It was
That's
Kelsey.
hilarious.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
I was just like standing there laughing at myself too because I was like, this is
That's
ridiculous.
good. Good stuff.
So,
Okay.
anyway.
Okay, so now students and adults are emotionally ready to learn. What is the next part of phase 1?
Gotta spark their curiosity.
You gotta hook them.
Gotta hook them.
Hook, line, and sinker. Throw out that reel. See if you can catch a fish.
What is that from?
I just made that
Oh,
up. I don't know.
Celeste brain.
From the brain of Celeste.